there there's not as much land out there anymore. We're encroaching on the areas that they are in, so now they're just becoming more exposed to humans.
Yeah, likely, or maybe getting more comfortable. I mean, have you ever been hiking in a wilderness park?
Sure.
They seem to have like trails everywhere, you know.
Now, those are animal trails or are those
No,
human
hiking
trails?
hiking trails, and
Sure.
and of course there are places in the there's tons and tons of area in I guess in Canada north of Oregon where it's
Wide open, no man's land.
yeah, I
space.
wonder. I really wonder how unexplored that area is. You know, I mean,
It would seem more likely that they would be concentrated in an area like that because they'd have more freedom to roam.
yeah, but I wonder how much of the United States is really unexplored. Like during the last epoch, they had saber-toothed tigers and they had giant sloths and stuff like that, and they only became extinct 10,000 years ago, which is so recent. You know, if you think about how like a giant sloth, how intimidating those are, they're like.
Yet Bigfoot still exists.
I also
Why
want-
didn't he go extinct?
Yeah, yeah. Well, they almost did, but no. Well, that's my point. Is how are they so sure that somewhere in an area in the United States that is so densely forested that people really haven't explored?
Wait a minute, you just asked that question. Is it unexplored? Is there an
That's
area
what-
in the United States that's unexplored?
Well, that's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm kind of wondering. Is there or isn't there? Because there's an animal that, like a dire wolf, they call it, which would look probably very similar to the wolves we already have. Now, something like a saber-toothed cat would probably look different than obviously look different than a mountain lion. It's clearly bigger, but different than a lion because they say it's more related to a jaguar. So it might have markings like a jaguar, and obviously these very long saber-like blades coming out of his mouth, and there's no mistaking that for an African lion.
You're right.
But something like a dire wolf might just be a little bit bigger than a regular wolf. So how do you know that they're totally extinct? And if there are areas that are unexplored in Vancouver or somewhere north of there, just
So more likely you're saying there are areas that are unexplored in Canada versus the United
yeah,
States.
but I've heard that I can't remember where it would be in Texas or somewhere. I don't know, but some people say there's areas in the United States that are just unexplored. I just like to know really how true is that. And
It doesn't seem likely.
yeah, it doesn't really seem likely, but you know somewhere in the Amazon, there's areas that are just totally unexplored. Just they have to parachute people in. I mean, it's so dense, you just can't get to it unless you
Yeah, that would
parachute
seem
in.
more realistic, more of a high probability.